All right, all right. All right, so I'm going to jump on here and share this. I was just had a bunch of people jump on, and they said they didn't see it. So we streamed it over on my Instagram if you want to jump over there and check it out. But I figured I would jump on here real quick as well and share this with you guys, being that I'm breaking, at least from what I've had ingrained into my brain for the last decade in regards to real estate investing, what I should never do. And some of my biggest regrets or hear others' biggest regrets when real estate investing is it's always over the properties they sold versus the ones that they kept. But I do think there is a time and a place to sell and liquidate real estate, and we are in that market. What's up, my man Diego? Good to see you, brother. So for those that are jumping on right now, Karen, hello. Let me know where you guys are tuning in from. I always love seeing where everybody's at right now, being that most of you guys are all my Facebook friends. I know you personally. So with that being said, I wanted to jump in here and really share the 4 reasons why I am choosing to liquidate some of my rental properties this year. I think we all know that the market is at a peak right now. We feel that. Maybe some of you are starting to feel that the market is starting to soften. What's up, Marcos, my brother? And with the market softening, right, a lot of individuals who have amassed a good amount of equity over this great run, this cycle that we've been on the last, let's say, 10 years, that could be coming to an end. Who knows, right? We don't have the crystal ball. I don't have the crystal ball. You don't have the crystal ball. We're all doing the best that we can possibly do with the resources, the information, and the people that we surround ourselves with. So I do know a certain few points right now that I am playing into my decision. Number 1 is why I am starting to sell some of my rental properties is I'm not selling all of my rental properties. I am just repositioning my portfolio. I'm repositioning my portfolio, being that when I got into real estate in 2011 and 2012, I got into buying some of my first rental properties in the war zones, right? Because those were the areas, 1, that had a lot of distress. 2, those were a lot of the areas that I could afford to buy in, right? Is that I didn't have a lot of tools for, cash. I didn't have a lot of resources for those hard money or private money relationships yet, right? And so the low barrier of entry allowed me to get into these different channels and capitalize on getting some cash flow properties. So most of these properties that I'm repositioning and selling right now, number 1, they are in D or F areas. They are in poor neighborhoods that have maybe good cash flow, but a lot of that cash flow gets sunk back in through our time, my staff's time, my energy, right? Our team's time going into managing these high maintenance properties, as well as the turnovers and the, cleanup and the maintenance through the wear and tear, that actually the cash flow that we are making actually just goes back into the property itself. And they're not as great cash flow assets, even on paper, that they initially look like after you really do the P&L on them at the end of the day. So the ability to, take these D and F areas that the neighborhoods aren't improving and cash in on some of that equity allows us to go and find opportunities that are equal or greater value, but to step up maybe in an asset class. Like I'm going to move some of this into a commercial retail strip center that I'm buying, or into a multifamily property that I'm buying, right? To start cashing in on some of that equity, which is step number 2, right? Is that peak equity position gives me the ability to capitalize on the fact that this may not ever get that much better, right? I want to be able to take advantage of the equity that I know I have right now. Maybe I lose out on $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 if it keeps going up, but I know we're pretty damn close to the peak, and I don't want to lose that equity position that I've had, right? I bought this property that I'm specifically talking about that was in my Instagram story yesterday for $39,000. It's probably worth about $260 to $275. Right? So let's just say a $235,000 gain from the 40K to the 275. Like, it doesn't get that much better, right? So it'd be greedy for me to just go, oh, I just need a little bit more. No, I should cash in on it right now and either 1031 exchange it tax deferred into another asset that has equal or greater value to put a big chunk as a down payment, right? And to get better cash flow in an A or B or maybe a B minus area or asset class is amazing, to be able to use some of those D and F properties that have great equity as stepping stones or as chips or as pawns in getting me into a higher tier of investing that ultimately is more aligned with my goals, the time and energy and effort I want to put into my rental properties in my portfolio, right? So it gives me that ability to use the equity as a pawn or a chip or a stepping stone into tiering up into asset classes and tiering up into cash flow. So that's number 2, right? I don't have a crystal ball, but I know what's going on right now in the market. We're pretty damn close to the peak. I'm not going to get greedy here. I'm going to take what's on the table off the table and either 1031 exchange it into another building, tax deferred, right? That listen to this, $235,000 gain, right? 40 to 275. That's a $235,000 step up or gain that if and when I sell, which I am going to have to pay on that $235,000 profit, right? So let's just say 35-40% tax bracket on that, right? That is $82,000 that I'm going to have to pay. So if I decide to 1031 exchange that, that's tax deferred. That's another $82,000 going towards a down payment on another rental property that's going to be in higher asset class, better neighborhood, and equal or greater cash flow, right? The other piece of that is, at the end of the day, if I can't find something to 1031 exchange it into, I still want to take that money off the table and sit in cash, right? Cash is king. And when the market shifts, which it's going to, and we're going to head into a recession, I want to be able to have cash liquid instead of on my balance sheet to actually use and play with, right? Because if cash equals options to capitalize, right? And if it's just sitting there on my balance sheet or my net worth, like that ultimately is, the equity is just ego, serving my ego. Like it doesn't actually give me what I ultimately want through real estate, which is cash flow, which at the root of cash flow is what? It's freedom. It's security, right? So if I liquidate that and I can't find anything to get into real estate, to get into a 1031 exchange, so what? I'll just sit with the cash and know that when, I hate this term, right? But when there's blood in the streets, right? When hardship circles back around like it does in every real estate investing cycle, I'm going to have options. Because if I have that money tied up in equity, well, one, if the market goes down, guess what? My equity goes down too, right? And so my net worth shoots down with it as well, with my ego going along with it, right? So if I can take that off and say, I'm not about what's on my balance sheet, I'm not about what's, looking like on my net worth statement. For me, it's about the cash flow and the freedom. Let's take that cash off the table. Let's sit with that cash, 1031 exchange it into something else, or let's just sit with it, pay the taxes, and know that if I'm patient, and I know what my criteria is, and I know if I keep sticking to my disciplines and my habits and my strategies, right, I surround myself with the right people, I continue to lead generate, I'm going to find the opportunity that cash, when freed up, is going to be able to go get deployed into something else that's going to generate me more cash flow and more freedom, right? So really, cash flow is the freedom, equity is the ego. So for me, I know that by selling this property right now, I'm going to check my ego at the door, say, it's been a great run. I love you. Thanks for all the cash flow, all the headaches, all the lessons, all the failures that you've given me. We got a nice chunk of equity to play with. Now it's time to take that equity, either 1031 it or put it on the shelf, and know that when I want to use it, I have the ability to. Because when the market shifts, we all know what happens. Money tightens up. Right? Everybody's not pulling home equity lines of credit anymore. Not everybody has $100,000 in their savings account. Everybody's battening down the hatches and getting ready for the storm, the winter that's coming. And you want to have some cash reserves that are available to you to capitalize on those opportunities for the hardship that will follow, right? So being able to have that when the banks aren't lending out anymore, having that cash available is huge. Having those relationships is huge. You don't want to go looking for water, right? You don't want to go dig in the well when you're thirsty for water. you want to dig it well before you're actually thirsty, right? So this is the time, if you're thinking about selling some of your assets or liquidating, you got great equity, you want to reposition some of those dogs on the bottom tier, the F and the D kind of tiers of your real estate portfolio that have great equity. It's a great time to do that. Cash in on where the market is at. Check the ego, right? Pull the cash off the table, either 1031 it or sit in that cash and know that you're going to be able to use it and deploy it when the market shifts, which is, from what I'm seeing, not far around the corner. I think we'll still see something stable, right? Nothing major or crazy happening, but I want to cash in, give myself some ability to have those options and have that security. That's basically it. So I just want to jump on here. I did a live on the Instagram. If you guys aren't connected with me on Instagram, I'm doing a lot more stories and things on a daily basis on there of what we're doing inside the Rich Life Academy. We got some amazing training coming up this month, where we are doing our first live call with 3 badass wholesalers, all doing over 100 deals a year inside the Mastermind Academy, which is only $97 a month, to have 3 calls in addition to all the other courses, resources, and downloads that are in there, plus the group chat that's going on every single day. But our first one is on wholesaling and how, especially when the market is where it's at right now and when it starts to shift, wholesaling is a great way to insulate your business and to get in and get out, right? Because we know that when the market is shifting down, you just want to adjust your strategy accordingly, and speed of getting in and getting out is the key, right? So we're going to be digging in with these individuals on our first live panel call with all of our community members on that Zoom. The second call, second week of February, we have one of my mentors, Millionaire Mentor call with Mr. Daniel Himmel, who's going to be talking about some amazing things on how to automate. This guy is a tech guru. He's bought, created, and sold multiple businesses, but as well as that, he's just a Hall of Fame human being, and is going to be sharing some amazing insights and making himself and his business accessible to us on a very intimate level that not most people get access to, that you can apply in your own real estate and or business in general. And then the third call is our accountability call, where this is the first time we're literally doing a virtual mastermind and accountability call with all of our members from all around the country. And now it's starting to expand out of the country, which is really cool, to be able to discuss goals, break into groups, right, and go through this accountability format that we've created inside the Rich Life Academy to get real, raw, intimate, like ask the real tough questions and help and serve people in really achieving these things, to hold you accountable, giving other people permission to hold you accountable to shit that you know you need to do, right? And maybe you just need that extra person or nudge or community or space to create that consistency and discipline. Those will be our 3 calls for the month of February, all for $97, guys. So I'll leave it at that. If you want more information, head over to go.therichlifeacademy.com. You can get more information there. But I'm fired up, so I want to jump on here and just share with you guys those 4 reasons why I'm selling. Of course, the goal is to hold forever, but if you're exchanging those holds into better holds, or you're exchanging those holds into cash that is going to be leveraged for greater opportunity, it makes sense to take what we have right now and know and cash in on that. Don't get greedy, take it off the table, reposition, get yourself in a great space to be able to go out there and take that next tier up, instead of like many people in 06, 07, 08 who just kept going, kept getting greedy. The bottom fell out, right? Which I don't see that happening to that extent, but the bottom fell out, which is true, right? And they lost all of that ground that they covered and were actually worse off than they started, minus the knowledge and the experience they got up here, but many of them were too scared to jump back in. So use this opportunity to do what you need to do to insulate your business, to insulate your life, to insulate your family, right, and your freedom and your future, and to actually not only insulate it, but get ready to pounce, because there's going to be some great opportunity here moving forward. So if you guys got any questions, feel free to throw those in the comments below. If this was valuable to you, hit a like. We're going to be dropping some more information on YouTube as well as some real exclusive stuff inside our Rich Life Academy community. So with that being said, thank you guys. Happy, what's today, Tuesday? Today's Tuesday. Happy Tuesday, and I will see you guys on the flip side. Later.